With no advice or direction, she began by saying various words aloud. This class will make going nude easier, increasing your comfort when in intemperate. Jadis mentally checked to see if any more. Now that she had been walking in the forest shadows for some time, Jadis was starting to feel a little chilly. She hadn't ever spent so much time naked anywhere outside of a bathroom or bedroom. She was glad the weather here, wherever here was at least comfortable. Aside from the pines, there really wasn't much. If Jadis looked behind her, it wasn't until several increasingly tense minutes of agitated searching had passed that Jadis finally spotted what looked like a stone structure poking out of the tree. The stone tower was easy to miss, despite being still, following along the base of the cliff was the. They hadn't explicitly talked about it, but Jadis supposed that it made sense that there would be other races if this. Heading further west, the stone temple looked no better than the rest. Vines were covering most of the walls and the gloom visible from where she stood. A chill swept up Jadis' spine at the thought of what might be waiting for. If there's any kind of priest in there, I'm positive it'll be the type who'll tie me to an altar and sacrifice me in a blood. Is that the kind of shit Dee's into? Jadis speculated, taking a look around. She'd never established exactly what kind of god Dee was. And then, getting swept up by Dee into his bizarre living room and for all she knew, Dee was some kind of deranged death. Sure, Dee had said his, second cousin, Sam, he could be a competing death god. Jadis rubbed her forehead, grimacing. What choice had she really had? Dee had been set to tear her soul to little pieces if she hadn't agreed to be of. Was she going to balk at serving him now? How could she, especially now that he'd already fulfilled his end of the bargain and given her a new life? Besides, maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was just negligent and hadn't actually checked to see if any of his followers were still alive around here before slapping her down in the middle of a massive forest with only old ruins populating it. When she thought about it that way, careless seemed like a far more accurate description of the laid-back, lounging Dee than evil was. She was stalling, thinking about things she couldn't change, like Dee's moral alignment was pointless and just an excuse to delay entering the creepy abandoned temple. She had to go in, see if there was anyone around that might be able to help her. And if there wasn't anyone, priest or otherwise, able to offer their assistance, well, she'd take this life one step at a time. It's just an old building. No spookier than the little ones you've already poked your head. Jadis mumbled half-hearted reassurance. It took a few seconds for her eyes to adjust to the low light, but the temple interior was just as decrepit. The aisle led up to a stone dais with a lectern. Slowly walking down the aisle, keeping her eyes and ears open for any, taking one large step to get. Carefully flipping it open, Jadis found it was somehow the text on the pages. Jadis paused on one near the front, a portrait. He stood with arms spread wide, an apparently welcoming gesture. Yet, that you, Dee? Blinking, she looked up at the stone statue. It wasn't much taller than her, so it was easy to examine it slightly. Well, at least now I know. As Jadis mused aloud, a quiet tapping sound of something hard like wood against stone faintly clattered behind her, sending lightning up her spine and her heart to her throat. Slowly, Jadis turned her head to look back towards the front of the temple where she'd come from. What she saw ripped a curse from her throat, unbidden and unstoppable. What the fuck is that? Egdish tease. Thank you to everyone who has rated and commented on the series so far. I hope you. A skeleton was slowly walking. If Jadis had to rate the kinds of monsters she found most threatening or terrifying, nothing about any depiction of undead skeletons had ever seemed like anything other than a joke. The shambling mass of mismatched bone. One large. Stunned by the appearance of an actual undead monster walking before her, she voiced the first unthinkable. A tail swung behind the abomination, balancing it. One large arm ending in a club-like limb swung from the creature's left side. It had 3 heads, clustered in a triangle at the top of a stubby bone torso, each of them from some different animal clearly unlike the others. You aren't one of these priests. Jadis stopped hesitating. Working solely on instinct, Jadis shot her arms forward and sent the wooden lectern flying at the monster. Before the bookstand had, fuck that, I'm out of here, Jadis had agreed to Dee's pitch of living, 100% interested in fighting. Jadis redoubled her efforts into running away, no longer certain which direction. Gasping out a prayer to her patron god, Jadis focused on her menu and mentally accepted the only class that looked remotely. Primary class selected. The transparent grey menu briefly flashed oh, god fucking damn it, she shouted, just as her vision was starting to clear and she was halfway on her feet. A sharp, bony mask collided with her side, straddling her prone, doing its best to hold her in place as it reared its left club arm back to bring the heavy end down. Scrabbling with the abomination, she struggled, twisting and turning, trying to pull away and yet, Jadis. The unoccupied Jadis looked down at her hands, expecting an out-of-body experience much like the one she had with Dee, perhaps hers, but, no, she could see her solid flesh, could feel the dirt, she could see through both sets of eyes. Her mind reeled as she tried to proceed. Distracted, the fighting Jadis' right hand slipped and the bone monster slipped free and swung its club appendage down. The body of Jadis that wasn't yet caught in the struggle searched around for anything heavy, eyes landing, tearing the stone from the earth. Thinking about what she was doing served, Jadis crashed down on top of the pile, sending her breath out of 2 different sets of. Fortunately, her weight slamming in from above also managed to dislodge. However, with no lungs to worry about, there was no wind to be knocked out and this time, Jadis didn't try to coordinate what her two. Grabbing the bony arms on either side, Jadis managed to manhandle the creature into a position, pinning the horrible monster down as it whipped around. The Jadis holding onto the monster's left arm had less, putting all the force into the attack. She swung again, breaking a second skull, then a still slightly rocking back. Jadis was starting to become inured to trauma. Then, she'd sat and had cookies and milk with a god. Yes, so, with all of those experiences. Literally, she talked to herself, a habit she'd been indulging in ever since she'd first arrived on Oris, except now, she was. Both of Jadis spoke at the same time. Is this permanent? Which gave her an odd kind of vertigo since tilting both heads to the left did not mean her heads mirrored each other. Suddenly, a flash of dark blue light emanated. The light was by no means blinding, which meant Jadis could see perfectly well as strange occult symbols appeared in the air around the torso briefly before disappearing a moment later. In response to the blue light, a few pieces of bone that were closer to where Jadis rested. Oh no you don't. Jadis, after the deed was done. This is just too freaky, she said. She frowned in annoyance as she continued to speak from both. It's getting dark and I need to find some place to. Her other self nodded in response and said, maybe bring this thing with, though. I could try and figure out how it works, maybe a better way to kill it. Somehow, talking to her double felt stranger than when she was just thinking aloud. Still, speaking to a second person that was also her felt a million times more deranged than just talking to herself normally. Still, as the dark settled in around her, the sun dipping low enough to hide behind the mountains, talking to someone else was real comfort. Pretending she wasn't alone might be crazy, but what about her situation wasn't utterly insane? Might as well roll with it until better options presented themselves. Comments. The dark settled around Jadis as both of her bodies huddled together under a rocky overhang situated at the base of the recess carved by some natural event of geology was nothing near what anyone would call it. It did provide a meager amount of shelter. She had further fortified her makeshift hidey hole by dragging a few broken logs and branches to cover the front. But it was a place for Jadis to rest that to any casual observer on the outside looked like nothing more than a pile of. Jadis took a deep breath, one head with eyes closed, leaning against the back of the alcove while the other stared out of the gaps in the branches, watching for any sign of movement. Damn, but if it wasn't weird to have eyes open and closed at the same time. Whenever she thought about it, though, her head would hurt as the disparate sensations of one body. Okay, order of business, I need to see what exactly changed. I mean, other than the obvious, her cell phone, willing the status menu into existence, she examined it for any changes. Jadis Alstrom, race, Nephilim, primary class, mirror. Night, 1. Combined level rating, 1. Health, 161 200s. Eldritch, 70. Focus, 1. Resilience, 10. Will, 5. A expected mirror knight, Jadis noted her combined level rating was at 1 instead of 0. That makes sense, I guess. If you can have multiple classes, it keeps track of the total level. A flash of annoyance crossed Jadis' face as she realized she'd been speaking from dual voices at the same time again. Continuing her thoughts, she made conscious effort to only speak from one of. I'm, what, about a quarter dead? She looked down at her arms and legs, both pairs, noting the bruises and lacerations. Guess I could be a lot worse off, though. But, that does make me wonder. Is my health pool separate for each body? From what Jadis could tell, her injuries were unique to the individual body. However, when she tried to will a different status menu into one mind, one status, she concluded. But does that mean if I get one head cut off, the other me die? She stared at herself for a moment before shaking her head at the thought. Let's just assume no matter what, I don't want a lethal blow to Jadis wiped one hand across her face, wishing she had access to a bath, some rubbing alcohol. Even a few band-aids would be better than the big fat nothing she had at the moment. Well, not nothing. She had her loincloth still, right? Looking down, Jadis noticed that both of her bodies had a loincloth. Wait, my class doubled my clothes? Hold on, would it have doubled everything I was holding, if I had anything to. The possibilities of what could be done by doubling herself and any. Fuck, please tell me I can do this again. Please, D, tell me. Permanent effect rather. Jadis groaned, a plaintive whine escaping her lips at the thought of permanent effect rather than. Wait, did she have skills? Oris was operating on some kind of RPG-like magic system. Jadis was abruptly startled from her contemplation of hidden class skills by a flash of doubt. The mass of bones that had been the skeletal creature's torso was doing something magic. She had brought the surprisingly, smashing the thing to pieces with a rock was certainly on her list of, did it count as alive? Once she had seen a skeletal monstrosity walk towards her with less than honorable intent, Jadis had thrown all considerations for what was. Magic did whatever the fuck well, maybe magic had free license to bend reality over a table. Figuring out what those rules were was a other than the same attempts at wriggling away from her the torso had been doing since she had smashed off its limbs. Well, can't be sure, but that looked like the same pattern of symbols as last time. Guess there aren't any bones around to gobble up, huh? Jadis mused, flicking a finger against the disabled monster. It was difficult to examine in the growing dark, but looking closely at the torso was changing Jadis' opinion of its general. What she had thought was just a bunch of bones mashed together like a wad of Play-Doh was looking more and more like. There was a spine and a rib cage, but it was all filled in with what the hell, are these mouse bones or something? Tiny femurs, tibias, ulnars, and the torso was a complete barrier, preventing anything. Now I wonder what's inside. Skeletal heart. Jadis laughed a bit at her own joke, maybe starting. How exactly sleep was going to work with two heads, she wasn't sure. She didn't want to risk this creature. Picking up her trusty smashing implement, one Jadis held the torso in place, but the other proceeded to slam the rock down. The bones were tough, but it only took a few tries before the skeletal shell was split open like the world's worst coconut. Taking a look inside, Jadis could see nothing but darkness. Leaning in close to get a better view, she recoiled in sudden shock and horror as a bright orange eye the size of a baseball surfaced from the black mass within. Acting on instinct, Jadis slammed the rock down on the squirming eyeball, a loud splat echoing in the tiny cave. "Oh fuck, I think I'm going to puke," Jadis gagged. Dark purple and orange viscera were dripping from the hand that had struck, a smell like 3-day-old squid mixed with vinegar emanating from the goo. As she feebly tried to wipe the nasty gunk off her hand without getting more the foulness on her, she noticed that a transparent when she focused on it, the screen enlarged. "Congratulations, Bone Thief defeated. Bonus experience points awarded for defeating a demon spawn of some Leos." And then, a moment after she had finished reading the information, Aurus system notifications had just magically "Okay, a lot to unpack there," she said, picking the cracked bone shell up, one of her bodies staying at the entrance to her She was amazed to find she could somehow walk with one. It was surreal, being able to see two completely different views at the same. Passive skill meant mirrored body was on all the time, she was sure, which was great in that she wasn't spending any resources to activate it or keep it. Jadis was glad for the confirmation on what she'd suspected about her extra body, but also a bit let down, in a sense. Passive skill meant mirrored body was at least until she got some weapons and armor. Once she was armed, she wouldn't mind a second go at one of the Bonnie monsters. Thinking on the problem as she walked, Jadis was reminded of an old action movie she'd seen some years. The first bedroom she checked had a bed with a moldy straw mattress and a worn-looking dresser. The dresser drawer. Jadis hadn't used a needle since she was a little girl, forced to sloppily patch a few cloth squares together when her grandmother. In the meantime, I start carrying these jars back to the house, along with any wood pieces that look like they'll be of use in boarding. Heading out of her fort, Jadis decided she was ready to head a little further into the village proper. She'd found some good loot searching the outer huts, but she was certain there had to be more in the buildings that surround. As Jadis moved to check the 6th building, a slight movement she almost missed caught her attention and she paused, ducking low behind a wobbly wooden fence. In an instant the demon was on top of her, a familiar pattern of many arms grasping at her own, trying to. Struggling up from her stunned slump against the door, Jadis turned and ran at the demon. However, the demon's action acted counter to each other. With one trying to pull back and the other rushing forward, neither were able to act to full effect and take advantage of the few seconds it took Jadis to get back into position. Don't get me wrong, I'm thrilled to be leveling up, but I'm just a tiny bit fucking exhausted at the moment. Give me a minute to breathe, will ya? Jadis panted, hands on knees as she slowly came down from the adrenaline high of I'm kind of already built towards melee with my high strength, Jadis debated with herself. If I sink all my resources into a spell, it's got to be. Jadis concentrated on her menu and spent her free attribute point on vitality, bring her health pool up by another 10. A slight relief to her pains washed over her with the change. She couldn't help but marvel at the magic. It's the age-old question, though, isn't it? She said, staring at the throbbing. She wasn't sure the debate applied to her case, though. The person sitting across from her wasn't a different person, it was her. There was no mental distinction, she was all just one being that happened. Egg dish tease, extra chap. What she was doing now, despite being double the sensation, was. As she stroked herself, she realized that the dual feelings of pleasure coming from her stimulated members were not the same thing as being touched by a separate person. Jadis had not been sexually active with many partners, having only gone. Without further delay, Jadis reached out and grasped both of her turgid members in her hands, instantly groaning in a lewd duet as her hands. Actually, shit, now I need to do this, she said, a thought dawning on her. This is going to be way easy. As she scooted towards herself a little, knees touching, she gave herself an exasperate. Didn't I just say I needed to be more careful and not? Without further delay, Jadis reached out and grasped both of her turgid members in her hands, instantly groaning in a loop. Damn, this feels so good, she moaned in both voices at once, having lost the concentration. As she stroked herself, she realized. Still, she was confident she knew the difference between when she touched herself and when what she was doing now, despite, I guess that answers the. Jadis found it didn't really matter if the pleasurable waves building in her stomach and causing her cocks to ache were from the unpredictable stimulation of a Either way, she was feeling double the fun and, okay, as established, she gasped out, having found a particularly sensitive spot under the crown of her dick's head. It's just, I've got an advantage over other people to do it better. Flimsy excuses plastered over her moral objections, one Jadis laid, assuming a classic 69 position. Flimsy excuses plastered over her moral objections, one Jadis back top, heads facing in opposite directions. Assuming a classic 69 position, she stared down the barrels of her obscenely large guns, hot breath panting against throbbing flesh that was already slick with pre-cum. I think I'll check under the hood, first, she said after a moment of gazing in apprehension. Make sure it's all still there. Everything was still there, of course. She knew it would be, since she certainly had enough physical awareness of her body to know it was. She just hadn't taken the time yet to truly feel out the nature of her new body, not fully. Taking the plunge and getting an up-close look, the pussy that greeted her when she peeked below the massive, highly distracting shaft, wasn't the same as the one her new womanhood was, in a word, perfect. Jadis had always been turned on by women, her sexuality unquestioned. Everything about the female form excited. She could stare at gorgeous hunks of men, put a mildly attractive lady in utterly pedestrian swimwear in front of her and she'd be ready to schlick. Footer definitely did something for her. Indecision on where to start momentarily stalled Jadis' thoughts as she looked between her two equally attractive options. After a few seconds, she realized she could handle both of her needy desires. Her body on top leaned back, adjusting herself so that she had easy access to the pillar of a dick sticking straight up in the air, simultaneously adjusting her position so that her cock slid along her lower self's neck and chest, giving her full and easy access to the wet core that waited impatiently between her legs. Having been ignored for far too long, both of her moved in unison, tongues reaching out and sliding along their targets, one licking along a pulsing cockhead, the other lapping at a dripping pussy. Phuic, Jadis moaned, shivering in delight at the hot, wet sensation running along two extremely sensitive, equally intense, yet utterly and indescribably different sources of pleasure. Sweet, too, she murmured, going in for another lick to both organs. But no, the taste of her new Nephilim body was far sweeter, almost. Her delicate laps quickly devolved into desperate lavishes of the tongue as she both enjoyed the taste and relished the spine-tingling sensation. Throaty gasps. In moments, she was lost in the pleasure, worshipping her own cock. Throaty gasps and breathy moans, as the twin body on top ground her hips down on the twin below. She suckled on the sides of her dick, running up and down the length with both mouths, her saliva mixed with the precum leaking from the tip, its faint sweetness making her head spin. Or was it her body below, feverishly lapping at her core, whose head was spinning? She gasped as she took a second to back off, but almost instantly dove back in again, a part somewhere in her stomach growing tighter and tighter with each stroke of her tongue. Grabbing hold of the base of her dick, Jadis wrapped her lips around the head and sucked. The thought of what she was doing was almost enough to make her gig. She'd never given a man head before, never even tried to suck on a dildo. The desire had never been. Now here she was, going to town on the biggest cock she'd ever seen, like it was the most. Never mind the fact that the pale pillar of pulsing flesh was her own. The idea was more than. She quickly forgot all about the bizarreness and instead focused solely on the throb. She couldn't take her cock deep, it was too big and she was too inexperienced. More and more of her pearly fluid dripped from. As the pressure grew in that place somewhere between, Jadis shifted from tonguing her pussy lips and dipping into her dripping tunnel to a bolt of lightning ran up hers. Instantly, her mouth was filled with fluid, her thick semen spurt. At the same time, the dick not actively being sucked on, only getting as much stimulation as could come from rubbing between her chest and body, also came in a torrent of thick white ropes of sperm splattered all over her stomach, her groin, and everywhere below, while even more continued to drip out of her desperate mind. Numb from the power of the sudden orgasm, Jadis didn't even blink at the fact she was drinking her own jizz. She just kept going, riding the euphoria for an eternity later, her high subsided and awareness of her surroundings slowly came back to her. The twin below was panting heavily, her face a mess of juices and her eyes glazed. Her torso was slathered in cum, dripping not only from the dick of the twin above. Jadis had resolutely kept her mouth around her cockhead the whole time, drinking down about half the volume of seed as the other half spilled out around her lips and onto her crotch. She still had her lips wrapped around her dick, breathing heavily through her nose and more than a little reluctant. Smawn, me, herself on her back said breathlessly, can't suck, slowly, savoring the overly sensitive sensations that tingled her spine as she pulled away from her own self. With both bodies lying flat on their backs, staring up at the ceiling, I can't help but notice that I am still at full mast. Jadis said, glancing at both of her slick members standing at attention. She looked around the dark room. She listened for any sound, hearing only the call of a few birds chirping in the morning light that was peeking in through small gaps in the roof and closed windows. No other sound or sight called for her attention. The Jadis that had been lying on the floor shifted up and swung a leg over the head of her other body. She grasped the throbbing dick in front of her and licked her lips. Turnabout's fair play, even when I'm the only one being turned on, right? She chuckled at her own pun, but only for a moment, as her mouth quickly became occupied with more important tasks. Comments, 11. Jadis had to. Having gone. Do I still call myself a girl? In any case, she was exceptionally filthy. Having gone 2 full days now without any kind of bathing, she would have been a bit. The morning's activities, Jadis used her hands to swipe at the sticky mess coating her, still impressed by the shit. She didn't think she could honestly complain. Okay, first things first, Jadis cut herself off. Since she'd gained the night's rest skill, she was hoping she'd healed more over this last night. She laughed in open delight at the convenience of living in a magic and I'm thinking I should resume my search of the village for supplies, she thought aloud, keeping her voice soft. There wasn't much left of the man. Desiccated bits of flesh and hair were strewn across a corner. There were no bones left at all, but a braided pile of dark. The edge had a few chips in it but looked plenty sharp. Jadis smiled a dual smile as she headed back to her little hut, already thinking up ways she could use the leather and hide to make some real clothes. Maybe something that could actually serve as some kind of protection. As she walked and planned, she almost missed the slight movement of white at the corner of her home base. Both bodies dropping low, Jadis hid behind a couple of pine trees as best she could, watching the edge of the hut. As she watched, a skeletal abomination stalked into view, a gentle click of bone on bone the only sound audible. Jadis quietly lowered her salvaged supplies to the ground and readied her clubs. She had an uninvited guest to greet. Comments, 42. 1. Mr. Grim Death Reaper, March 23, 2023. I have a horny idea and a question. 1. Can she impregnate herself? The bone demon was a gangly monstrosity, humanoid in the loosest sense. Still, she did not go down. Reacting to the momentum of the attack and her own sprint, Jadis whipped around and swung the demon off and away, sending it sailing through the forest. Standing in the small clearing where she had dumped the bone thieves from the day before, Jadis searched. The skeletal demon had been walking a path that would cross her own at an angle. It stood a few dozen yards away on 4 legs, the stolen skulls of 2 sharp-toothed carnivores swaying back and forth in the fore. Jadis smiled at herself, knowing full well she was being more than a little egotistical. But hey, she just slaughtered 2 demons like a pro. Who else was going to sing her praises for her triumphant deeds if she didn't? Jadis slid one of the somewhat finished vambraces on her arm and frowned. The braca was kind of loose and without any buckles, she had no way of tightening. As she ranted at her twin, Jadis realized she was starting to enjoy herself. Not the bad-mouthing of Dee's stepfather, she honestly didn't feel that. Yes, the conversation was with herself. But she'd always talked to herself in the past. Voicing her thoughts this way, using 2 different voices. Sighing heavily from 2 pairs of lips, Jadis checked her status menu to see how much her health had gone up. Before settling, what's with the difference? The only thing that's changed is we have it. No, she shook her head, that's not the only thing that's changed. We upped our vitality. That might have a direct. Maybe, Dee-wise shrugged her shoulders. Either way, we don't have full health yet. The 2 sat across from each other on the grey pelt, cross-legged. 2 more jars of preserves were shared between them, one jar containing something similar. As the 2 stared each other down, dual hearts thumping and bodies heating with arousal, both suddenly started giggling madly. Jadis couldn't help herself. Pretending to be 2 people was fun and felt natural, but the illusion wasn't perfect. She was still basically making sexy poses at herself in a mirror, eyeing up her own body with excited desire. I'm still fucking horny, Dee-wise said between fits of giggles, one hand moving to stroke Jay's muscled thigh. Better get to work, then, Jay said with a smile and leaned back on her hands. Her heart. Dee-wise needed no convincing, being on literally the same wavelength as Jay. Tossing the cloth aside, Dee-wise eyed the rising pillar of pale flesh with a mix of growing lust and trepidation. The cock was practically not the my hands right now. I don't know if pregnancy is a possibility, but I'm not risking knocking my. Stop talking already and get to it, Jay said a bit impatiently. Dee-wise complied and crossed the small distance to plant a wet kiss. Jay's dick had jumped with, I wonder if I'll come just from getting you off. That's an experiment I'm willing. Laughing later, dick sucking now, Dee-wise breathed heavily through her nose as she worked hard to bring her alter self off. All she could think about was the coming climax as Jay's hand on Dis here went from a gentle pressure to a tight fist. Desperately she tried to drag Dis mouth further down her shaft. For a brief moment, Jay's cockhead gagging, Dee-wise head coming off Jay's wet dick for the first. Eagerly, Jay started licking Dee-wise clean, running her long tongue over her twin's face. If she thought about it, maybe it was weird that she was so into eating her own jizz. As Jay cleaned up the worst of her mess from Dee-wise, Jadis realized that Dee-wise had not actually climaxed. I guess now we know, Jay said, swallowing a mouthful. We've got enough bodily autonomy to not necessarily come together. Yeah, guess so. Doing so revealed the steel-hard erection that Jadis had discovered that one body. Well, Jay said, staring at this member with lascivious smile on her lips, I guess if we want to be scientific about this experiment, we have to show we can duplicate our initial results. I don't think duplication is any. Jay sucked on this cock, slipping and stroking her tongue around every inch. The first thick spurt of cum was delivered directly down Jay's throat, even as the 2 worked to break apart. Even though her scent was sweet, her cum was still sticky and didn't feel great when cool against her skin. Yeah, I guess, not a lot else to do now that we've got the armor done, though. Dee-wise complained. When the coin clattered to the floor, both of Jadis' selves leaned over the silver piece. Yeah, I know, Jay said with mock annoyance. Jadis teased herself with the roleplay, her lascivious imagination stoking the fires of her lust. Easing down to kneel on top of the backs of Jay's thighs, Dee-wise placed her now steel-hard member between the ass cheeks of her double. The silky smooth skin felt. Jay's tongue licked and stroked in long motions all over this cock, making it. Finally the tension broke and her climax came, strained grunts and moans ripped from her lips and throat with every rope of thick cum that pulsed from her shaft. In seconds Jay's back was coated with the stuff, some strands making their way all the way up to her hair. With each spurt Dee-wise thrust against Jay, who thrust her ass back at her double, milking her cock for all it had. Jay flexed her ABS, lifting her ass higher into the air, giving Dee-wise a better angle to thrust at. Her breath came out in Get the fuck off me, Dee-wise shouted while battering the ram demon with her club, raining blows down on the toppled monster's side. Despite how tired she was, it took a long while for Jadis to fall asleep. She was still angry that her evening had gone so wrong. With how well she'd handled the 2-tailed skeleton dog, she'd hoped to change her dynamic with the demons to one where she was the hunter on the prowl and they the cautious and wary prey. It seemed fate or D or whatever had sent Jadis a reminder that she still needed to be respectful of the amount of damage a single bone thief could do to her, especially if she was caught off guard.